Kilo Quebec 4, Kilo Delta X-ray.
Alrighty, and what's the name there?
Alrighty, and what's the name there? Joe?
That's Joe, is that a Roger?
That's Joe, is that a Roger? Roger, Roger.
Alrighty, Joe, and where are you located, sir?
Alrighty, Joe, and where are you located, sir? Fine, North Carolina.
Roger, Roger, and what radio are you running today, Joe?
Roger, Roger, and what radio are you running today, Joe? I got an Elecraft KX-3, and I'm pushing it with a 100 amp MLA 100.
Roger, Joe. Okay, why don't you give me about 10 seconds, tell me about your antenna, and let me look around and see if I can find a better path, Roger?
And let me look around and see if I can find a better path, Roger? Roger, Roger. I got my license back in. And kind of got this set up with a 10 to 80 meter half-wave end-fed dipole, and just playing around, just trying to tweak it in and get it as good as I can get it.
Yes, sir, Joe. Well, gosh, on my local antenna, you're about 20 over, so I do have just a perfect copy. Now, is that a desk mic or a hand mic?
It's a Howl mic with a headset.
Okay. The thing is, I'm catching some plosives and some mouth noises. So what I want you to do is take that boom mic and pull it out as far in front of you as you can get. And then at the last minute, make that 90-degree turn. So I want you to take that boom mic and just try to get it out in front of you as far as you can. And then at the last minute, make that 90. Roger?
Roger, Roger.
Okay, sounds better now. What I want you to do is, we're kind of doing this thing in the back. Do you have a compressor processor on that radio?
I've got a mic setting.
Okay. You do not have a compressor or processor as such?
Be the same.
I'm sorry. I think you're getting maybe a little bit of RF in your AF. It sounds just a little bit distorted, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Let me see here. Is this any better?
Still there. Tell you what, why don't you go to your ALC where you can see your ALC, say the word audio with mic gain in hand, and set your ALC meter to 7 or 2/3, whichever comes first.
Is that any better?
Yeah, now, let's see. Why don't you give me something and tell me about what you like best about your radio, Joe?
Well, I like it because it seems to be easy to use. I don't understand everything on it yet. Still doing a lot of learning about it, but it seems to set up well and set up fast. I've done a soda with it already, and it seems to work pretty good.
Okay, it does sound like you're getting RF in your microphone. What is your mic setting right at the moment?
The mic setting is at... He's overdriving it. Bear with me. 70.
70. I'll tell you what, why don't you bring it down to about 2, bring it down to about 20, and get right up on top of it at 20, and let me listen to it, and we'll see if there's RF getting into there.
Okay, is this any better?
Fairly clean, so I think you're getting RF in your AF, Roger.
Roger, Roger. How do I clean that up?
Well, are you running a ground system on your radio?
It has a counterposed wire that's supposed to run along the ground, which it does. It's not touching the ground, but it is run out to the shack where I have the radio set up.
Roger, did you happen to still have the hand mic that came with that radio?
Roger, Roger. Got it right here.
All right, why don't you plug that in and bring your audio up to about a 5 and let me listen?
Bear with me for a minute.
Was that my Elmer in there?
Jim, while he's changing mic, this is K4JLB. Just want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I hope it was good for you.
Yes, sir, and you too, man. Fast recovery from yesterday.
Have a good evening there. Always good hearing you.
Roger, don't run off. You got some time? I want to speak at you when we find out what's going on here. And you were so loud, I thought you were my Elmer.
Yeah, this is KQ4KDX coming at you with a hand mic.
Yes, sir. Clean as a whistle. Now, I want you to take that hand mic to the corner of your lips and talk across it. Don't talk directly into it, but pull it to the corner of your lips so it touches your lips and talk across it and say the magic word audio, just as you would say a word in a Qso, and adjust your mic gain until your ALC is running 2/3. Roger?
Roger, roger. How's that?
All right, and now tell me what you like about your radio.
Well, it just seems to be a pretty good radio. It's got only 15 watt output, but with the amp, it seems to get me up to where I can at least push a clearer sound. I don't know that it gets it any further out, but at least it appears to be clearer. And getting this thing dialed in will make it a little bit better. Just better contacts for the people on the other end.
Yes, sir. So you are clear there. What's your mic level at the moment?
$17.
Okay, take that up to about 25.
Okay, I got it set on 25 at this point. ALC seemed to have jumped up a little bit, so I will adjust that down. Well, I mean, that's where it's at. So, is this clear?
Yes, sir. Clear as a bell. So you are getting RF into your AF. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Double check your ground system. Sometimes you might have to run two grounds, spaced 6 foot or so apart. I use RG8 as the conductor from the grounds inside to the radio, and there's the idea that what you want is a common place to connect all your grounds inside. And I don't like the copper pipe routine there, because you do start dealing in wavelengths of space between those connections with that copper pipe. I am more inclined to put them all together at one place with a what's called a split bolt. And you can get a split bolt big enough to get that RG8 in there, and you can get probably 5 or 6 other grounds, and they all ground at that same place. Roger?
Roger, roger. I have an 8-foot ground in the ground outside the shack, and then I've ran a 10-gauge wire up through the floor, and I have it attached to a brass bar where I can ground everything to it. Now, the amp does not have a grounding plate, so I have not grounded the amp per se. And the radio, I just ran the counterpose as Elecraft had shipped it. But I could, put up a ground that I could run to that grounding bar.
Yes, sir. Well, like I say, I think maybe if you really wanted to solve the problem, take two ground stakes, at least 8-10 feet apart, and then run one ground stake to the power amp, switcher, tuner, whatever you got there, and then the other ground to your radio, and run something. See, that number 10 is like a very small conductor, since RF runs on the outside of the wire. When you compare that little 10 with RG8 using the whole shield and everything, it's like a 1-inch copper pipe going to your ground stake. Roger?
Roger, roger.
So if you do that, you know, you'll be a lot better off. And then the final test is set your ALC, you know, by doing audio and bring the mic level up to where you're 2/3 on your ALC meter, and then take it all the way up. And if you don't go into oscillation, then you're not getting, probably not getting. In other words, if you're running a 5 when you're, you know, normally, and then you've got that ground in there, and you turn that audio gain all the way up and don't get any feedback, you know, enough RF in the AF to cause feedback, then you're in good shape. That's my test, is hit it with 10 dB over normal operating volume, and if it doesn't take off like a bird, I'm in good shape. Roger?
Well, I really appreciate all your help, and I thank you for being out there and helping us guys out. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now, if you wanted to use that hand mic very much, and I would suggest that over the other mic until you really worked on your grounds, I would take my treble up about 3 clicks more than where it is, plus 3 clicks boost treble EQ from where you are. Roger?
Roger, Roger.
I think that would that hand mic doesn't have quite the articulation that the desk mic does, but it does feature less RF contamination than the other one. Roger?
Roger, Roger. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your call sign.
Roger, your name is Jim. Juliet India Mike. Call is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That's KC9VKV. Roger, and this is the Qso-Vlog net, and we help folks set up their transmitters. Roger.
Well, I really appreciate it. And hope one day I can get to a point where I can help somebody like you are. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, I think if you get those 2 grounds in there, and the point I found was I was getting RF in my AF, and I was using a single ground, and then it came to me that it didn't make much sense to take my power amp ground and my mic preamp ground to the same place. You know, here's a very, very low-level mic signal against KW, joining the grounds together. You know, did not make much sense. So I just split those 2 grounds apart and ran 1 ground for my high part, my PA and my antenna switcher and all that stuff, and then antenna tuner, and then another ground system for my radio and preamp. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Well, I will set that other. I actually got a second ground stake, so I'll run it in the ground. And now, do you bind the 2 of them together, or you just leave them as 2 separate grounds?
2 separate grounds, and use RG8 as the or something like that. You know, a large coax, and you take the center conductor and the out ground and tie all those together and use a clamp right there on the outside, and then on the inside, like I say, there's this thing called a split bolt, and you put all of these wires minus the insulation into these split bolts. They just slip in there, and you have a nut that screws down on the split and ties all that stuff together. So you have a common ground there, Roger, and a common ground on the other high power stuff too.
Roger, Roger. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And I would like to hear you again when you know with the desk mic after you get all that worked out. Roger?
Yeah, I can do that. You do this every Friday?
Yes, sir. 3:30 till 5 Friday afternoons. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Well, I appreciate all the help, and we'll get started on that this week, and hopefully we'll be back to you on Friday. And I'll bail out and let somebody else get in since we're getting close to the 5 o'clock hour. And thank you so much for your help, and appreciate everything you're doing.
Yes, sir. 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. If you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 2,800 Qso-Vlog aircheck recordings, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Roger, Roger. 73s, and this is Kilo Quebec 4 Kilo Delta X-ray out.
Roger, roger, Joe. 73, sir. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.